Users of Reddit, what is something acceptable in women but frowned upon in men? Talking to strangers. Kids in general, just being good with children. Kids love me because I never really grew up much myself, so they get attached easily, but I feel like I have to forcibly ignore them or push them away because people will look down on me in some way. I love kids. I was a preschool teacher for 10 years, they're just so much better and more enjoyable than adults. People don't like when I say this out loud. Lamau. You can say this about dogs and no one thinks you f*** dogs. One time I was at Walmart and there was this really cute baby in front of me in line and I was waving and smiling at him. The dad asked if I wanted to hold him and literally handed his baby over to me, a random stranger. I feel like if I was a man smiling at the baby he would have had a different reaction. While visiting my mom for Thanksgiving, I saw a woman walking a dog that looked just like my brother's dog, whom had passed away earlier that year. When my brother arrived, I asked if he had seen the doggy ganger. He said he had, and he almost had stopped and asked if he could pet the pup, but wasn't sure if the woman was a teenager or a young adult, so opted not to interact. I wouldn't have thought twice about the woman's age. Most of the time, a woman's interactions with children and with other women are given the benefit of the doubt, whereas due to the actions of some creeps, harmless actions from males are more likely to come across as creepy even if they aren't any ill intentions. Just the other day, I was picking up some Pokemon cards at the store. A little girl walked up and started picking some out as well. She started asking me if I liked Pokemon and stuff like that. I would have liked to talk to her all about it, but I just kept it super short, grabbed my stuff, and walked away because I didn't want anyone thinking I was a creep. I didn't even have time to figure out exactly what I wanted. That exact scenario happened to me. Two kids, maybe 12 or so, were talking about and looking at Magic the Gathering cards, and I happened to actually talk to them about it. Their mother came while we were chatting and got very defensive. Stepped between us. "Excuse me, can I help you?" I explained I was just chatting about the MTG cards and about the newly released Magic Arena, and she interrupts me and says, yeah, we already got all that at home. I already bought them that game, and pushed her kids away. Felt like shit cause I was just having friendly talk, but the look in their mother's eyes were piercing. I wouldn't be surprised if she went to report me. Being treated same by the legal system. There are thousands of cases in which women don't get punished as severely as men for the same crime. I'll share two incidents. There was a guy in Washington, high school kid, who was accused for sexual harassment by two girls from the same friend group. The school kicked him out, legal action was taken, the media destroyed his image, character, etc. But after a while, those girls confessed that she falsely accused him BCS they thought he was weird. The school took no action, as if they never did anything. They didn't took the kid back at school, media was silent. The only action taken was a lawsuit filed by the parents, which resulted into nothing. Those girls destroyed that kid's life, cause his mental health would never be same to ever date normally, be normal or confident around girls, and those girls just went on living their normal life, as if nothing ever happened. 2. A school teacher was punished only a 21-day probation for molesting a 13-year kid for 3 years. She always forced him and was caught when the kid wasn't able to take it anymore and called 911 crying and barely able to breathe. Imagine if a guy would have done even half of it. The way that our media handles crime reporting in the US is an abomination. They should never be allowed to mention a suspect's name in connection with a crime until after they've been convicted. Showing any strong emotion. Affection towards children, even sometimes their own. Actually, affection towards anyone other than a romantic partner, but the children thing is for a different reason. Dressing how they like. Women can wear masculine or feminine clothing and it's normal, but everyone throws a fit if a man wears a dress walking behind someone of the opposite gender on the street. Not wanting to pay for their partner / being paid for by their partner, dates, living together with one of them just being taken care of, that kind of thing. Sometimes even abusing their partner. Women can hit a guy and it's what did he do? Man hits a girl and it's he's abusive. Being traumatized by abuse, especially sexual abuse, especially by the opposite gender. I could go on. If a man is misogynistic, and a woman calls him out, the man is in the wrong. If a woman is being misandristic, and a man calls her out, the man is still in the wrong. And I'm apparently a misogynist for saying this. You're correct about this. The feminist way in today's time isn't about getting voting rights or being able to own land. Nowadays it's not shaving your armpits because it's more masculine and you should be equal. Misandryism isn't used near as much as misogyny purely because the thought of a woman hating men just because they're men isn't something people think about anymore. Being able to openly say I wouldn't date a man who is short. If a man says I wouldn't date a fat woman, he gets shamed. What a woman is doing is so much worse. Height isn't a choice. Being obese is 99% of the time not true for men who are of high social class. You can be an upper or upper middle class person of any gender and say you don't want to date fat people. Fatness in America is associated with lower classness, the same way that NASCAR, banjos, and country music are. If a woman says she won't date a man who is short, she's valid. But when a man says it, he's total inequality. Punching someone of the opposite sex. Once my sister punched me during an argument. Male, was 16 at the time, and she is several years older, to which I responded by doing the same. She was shocked that I hit a woman, while I didn't understand the double standard and found it funny. Another time a female friend hit me jokingly on the arm several times. Well, it hurt, but if I had done it or responded, I'd be in trouble. Not to mention that several people stared at me in the second situation, because obviously it was my fault. This is a tough one for me. On one hand, hitting anyone is wrong. On the other hand, as a tall and physically fit adult male, I understand that a punch from me can cause tremendously more damage than one from my sister or girlfriend. There's a problem with getting back with more force. However, there's no problem with retaliating, regardless of gender. I don't know what to call it, but I was bullied by a woman when I was school. She always made fun of my looks. I made one single comeback. She started bawling and somehow I turned into the bad guy. Lol. There was a girl in my class in high school who perpetually pinched or hit my then boyfriend. Now that I'm typing that, I don't know if she wanted his attention or had a crush on him, but when finally he snapped after months and months, she cried and was hurt. I was there and other people too. He only took her wrist and told her to stop. But she had a medical condition that made her thin as paper, supposedly. I think she wanted attention most of all, and she wore a brace for 2 weeks. Even if she was weak, it was a bench thing to relay on her condition to hit others thinking they can't push her back. When I was younger, I went to this rotten school. The students were just horrible creatures. At some point, they had to separate the older kids from the younger ones. There was a group of 16-17-year-olds who bother smaller kids. This 17-year-old girl used to hit this 12-year-old boy. She was extremely violent, throwing rocks at him, and kicking him. Yet, his pitiful classmates used to laugh at him for being hit by her, saying he is weak SMH. I mean, the girl looked weak herself, but her body is strong for a 17-year-old. Not to mention, the girls weren't laughed at when an older kid hit them, but they get laughed at or called names when someone does something bad other than hitting. Please like and subscribe for daily content. I love you. As a single dad who has custody of his son, 5, I have been told, a child needs a mother's love. If I show affection to my son, I get weird looks. People always assume I am giving mom a break, when in reality she left because she felt she didn't get to date enough before getting married and having a family. But yeah, a lot of frowned upon stuff seems to involve me simply being a decent father. Lamadit. Thank you all so much for the kind words. I only wish that we all keep moving forward and loving each other. I want my kid to grow up loving the world and seeing the best in people. The sun rises and another day comes. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. As a widower raising my 2 sons, F the nosy biddies. No, I'm not giving mom a break, babysitting, or anything other than parenting my children. But the look on their faces when I tell them, mom's dead, is almost worth it. Dad, good job raising your kid. This is not an easy thing we do, but we do it because we love them. My son is Asian and I am white. He does not look like me. He loves Michael Jackson, so I drove him from Phoenix to Las Vegas to see an impersonator family show. Michael came down and danced and sang with my son and gave him his glove. It was really cool for my 5-year-old son. Coming out of the show, this guy yells, "Hey, you pedophile. F you, all pedophiles go to H." I was like, yeah, I totally agree, but this is my son. Effing A. I get it though, Sin City and child in hotel with older white guy, and Michael Jackson. Optics weren't good. Still no regrets BS. As a dad, a lot of the responses in this post are a big reason some of us are seen as US in society. Either accidental or deliberate. We are forbidden, at least in the US, from speaking to, looking at, or even acknowledging a minor's presence. Even if it's our own child, we must constantly be alert for the troublemaker that have nothing better to do. I've been dang lucky myself. Maybe it's different living in a rural area. But I've had my share of close calls, including one where I got side-eyed by a mom for commenting on a kid's coat of all things, because my own kid used to wear one just like it 2 or 3 years prior. I saw that mother maybe 20 minutes later, while with my own kid, and apologized, acknowledging that it may have come off as creepy, and still got the stink eye. Perhaps a month later, saw a dad with his 2 kids in a gas station. The daughter was wearing a skirt tucked into her underpants. I wanted to say something, but here's a random dude who noticed a minor, so I never said anything. I hope he noticed the wardrobe malfunction sooner than later. Dad would have most likely gotten very protective of his kids, not that I blame him. I've since figured out that unless the parents know you, even casually, it's much safer for a male to just ignore everything. Kid gets hurt? Tough stuff Tommy or Susie, this guy ain't getting the cops called on him. Kids lost? Keep 10 feet away at all times until the cops get here, bud. Even if I had the medical knowledge to help, I ain't going anywhere near that landmine. Don't get me wrong. I'm well aware there is a large problem with child trafficking, etc. I'm grateful that many people are alert to potential threats. But how the heck much evidence do we, as dads, or family members, need to provide to show that we're not some sicko? BTW, most of the kids who are abused, probably know the perp. So the stranger danger idea, while valid, doesn't hold much water. Sorry for the rant. Edit, a word. Interact with children in a public setting without having police or management called on them. My wife thinks it's absolutely hilarious, and slightly horrifying at the same time, that small children gravitate towards me anytime we are out in public. I am a 36-year-old dad of 3 beautiful daughters, and to use my wife's words, I think those babies just know that your arms are the safest place anywhere in this restaurant, because I would never do anything to hurt a child in any way, and there have been at least half a dozen times where a kid at a table next to us will climb over their parent to try and get to me. It usually ends with some laughter and chatting with the parents. Maybe they even let the kiddo come hang out with me and my wife for a little while, and sometimes they are even happy for the break. Very rarely is there an awkward situation with the other parents, but I have actually had other restaurant patrons, Karens, have management go to the other parent and make sure I was not bothering them because they saw me interacting and playing with this kid from across the aisle. Why? I guarantee if my wife had been the one making faces and funny gestures to make that baby or toddler laugh, they would not have said a word, but because I am a man, I am public enemy number 1. Yeah, I work as a welder/fabricator, but my degree is in secondary, 7 to 12 grade, agricultural education, and I had entire classes that were don't bang the cute high school upper class, and you'd better believe the guys got singled out and the girls just got joked about. Letting your job or career crumble/general laziness/incompetence. It has everything to do with societal expectations. Women are still infantilized. I think it's the most insidious kind of sexy because it's so easy for them to take the easy path of low expectations without even realizing it. I can't tell you how many times I've seen women just mess up really bad in my grad programs and jobs, and people just kind of turn a blind eye. I mess up and it's a really big problem. But I've seen lots of women either not get called out or cry when they are called out. I can't imagine crying whenever I mess up. I think my boss would think I'm mentally ill. At first this irked me, and I didn't know exactly what to think about it, because it feels like a sexy thought, but I can't not notice these things. One day, a mentor took me aside and said, "Look, I'm hard on you because if you fail, you're screwed. If she fails, she's gonna have a safe place to land, she doesn't have to support herself if she doesn't want to, her family will do it or she'll find someone who will happily do it." This was of course an incredibly sexy thing to say/do, because he was neglecting to correct and train my woman counterpart under the assumption that she would not need to succeed. And then she very casually ghosted the lab after she got married and never finished the degree. There is a really nuanced way we should look at that. The expectation that men have to succeed is in a way justified, because I cannot expect someone to support me if I decide not to work, not typically at least. If I go down, I'm homeless. If she goes down, she's a trophy wife/partner. Family is far more willing to support their daughters monetarily. The other end of this is imagining what would happen to me if no one demanded that I succeed, no one demanded excellence. What sounds like a good deal for some lazier women is a terrible curse for determined ones. I guess that's as far as I'll go with this one, because I'm deeply afraid of the Reddit gods and their wrath. Generalizing the other gender due to bad experiences. If a woman dates some guy or guys who stink and posts to her social media something like "men are trash" or "men are dumb," you'll be sure to see men complaining about it in the comments, but they will be called out for being reply guys or doing the hashtag #NoTillman faux pas or for the impropriety of getting pressed and invading the online space of a woman who is venting to make the situation about their own feelings. If a guy has negative experiences with women and vents by generalizing an entire gender, we just recognize him as an incel, and many replies will point out that not all women act in a way in accordance with his personal negative experiences. I get where the double standard comes from. Angry men alarm us more than angry women do, because angry men have done far more awful things out of their real or perceived grievances than angry women have. Very few examples of women who are mad at their exes going on killing sprees or something. But still, either we shouldn't tolerate people making generalizations about a gender based on some bad experiences, or we shouldn't tolerate people policing the feelings of people who are venting and making such generalizations out of hurt, but we can't just pick and choose like that. Rejection. Anytime I have turned a woman I wasn't interested in down, it's like full psycho mode revealed. I have high standards and don't sleep with any ladies from my workplace. I don't get involved frivolously, and it takes time for a woman to show me she is legitimately interested in something real. Anything less is just pointless to me. One absolutely overly entitled Looney Tune decided as a result of me saying no to her that she would spread all manner of rumors. Oh well, haters gonna hate, I guess. But it was comical because she actually did me a favor, and it also highlighted who the losers were that listened. It was very transparent, and she had a clique of idiocy around her as a result over almost a decade. She actually tried to get me in trouble at work regardless. Toxic femininity is real, and some people are extremely vengeful in the pettiest of ways. Funny thing, the dude who was my boss at the time almost bought her bully. They have no idea the legal firestorm that I would have unleashed had they dared entertain the idea. I would have gone to our, but I had more important things to do, like living life. However, I did keep a trail of evidence, notes in diary, etc. At first it made me laugh when she outright said to me I should have fricked you when I had the chance, because I was thinking that was never. Later I did cringe because I did get very drunk one night, and if there was ever any opportunity for her to try and give me her diseases, it would have been then. Thank frick my actual friends were there that night to twat block her, just cringing at the thought of her creepy pugnacious ugly face yelling I'm awesome every 10 minutes. Holy frick, we have some horrible women in Adelaide.